Yo, what's up, guys? The Insane Game Freak here. Now, the way I wanted to originally approach this is the angry rant. I'm not even going to promise you that it won't get to that point by the end of this because I'm still relatively heated about this. But I'm going to blame Zen Gamer for this because he liked the video and I ended up seeing it and rage ensued. So this is a response to AngryJoe's video. I believe, what is the official title? Final Nintendo Angry Rant, Anti-YouTuber Policies, in which he talks about pretty much the copyright thing that's been going on with YouTube and with Nintendo's YouTube Creators Program and the copyright infringement and the copyright claims they've been putting on videos. Pretty much the video is talking about that, them as a company, and then proceeding to go into this will be his last Nintendo video period, and that he won't be doing any more Nintendo content. Now, I'm going to approach this as calm as I can, but we'll see what happens. I make no promises. The first thing I want to address is whether this is right for Nintendo to do this or not, and what that really means in the long run. Okay, so are they legally able and allowed to do this? Yes, and I think almost everybody agrees with that. Most people just believe they shouldn't. And granted, I do feel that they shouldn't either, but it's not for the same reason that other people think they should. I think they shouldn't because, unfortunately, this just adds to the amount of hatred that that company will get. See, there's something Joe says in his video about how, why is it that we rag on EA and Ubisoft for doing things, but we don't rag on Nintendo for doing things, which has come into this weird misconception that Nintendo gets a pass for things, which they don't. Most of the things they do, they don't get passes for. Most of the things they do, people go openly and criticize about. And that's not just with the Wii U. That's been with the Wii. That's been with the 3DS. That's been with the DS. That's been with a lot of different things. A lot of their consoles have been openly criticized, and their company has been openly criticized. Whether it was back when the GameCube about having a console that looked like a lunchbox, to things like the Amiibo situation and the online infrastructure of the Wii U. It's not, I don't understand this mindset in which people feel like Nintendo gets away with everything. No, they don't. And then you compare them to EA, well, that's the other reason. What EA has done, Nintendo hasn't done to that extent. Nintendo doesn't charge $100 and something for a game, even a premium edition of a game that provides you with less content than the original. So, of course, they don't get chewed out for that because they don't do that. Like, it's just simple logic. Like, they don't get chewed out for things they don't do. They get chewed out for things that they do wrong, right? So, I don't understand that mindset. Like, what? And I'm serious. I want people to openly tell me what thing have they done that they have never been chewed out on. Like, please, someone tell me. Considering in most gaming circles, they're not even talked about as a system. Most conversations about gaming don't even include Nintendo. So what are you talking about? How they've just they get away with everything they do. They can't even get away with being a console 90% of the time. People don't even view them as a gaming console. They view them as a kid's toy or a Nintendo box. Like, it's not even considered a gaming console. So I don't understand that. Or getting into the legality of what they're doing. When it comes down to it, and this is the thing he did a few times in the video that drove me out the wall. He mentioned about how, so essentially, even it's not enough for me to buy your console and buy your games and buy your controllers. But even when I want to share the experience I've made with the games and controllers and stuff I bought for the Wii U or whatever Nintendo console, I have to pay you for that. I have to pay you to share my experience. And here's the misconception that that has been going around since when? Advertising a game unofficially, you don't have the right to get paid for it. You're telling, like, he even brings up the whole, well, let me get my wallet. I told a few people to go get the Wii U. How much do I owe you, Nintendo? And I'm like, so now we have to start paying for recommendations just because you recommend the console? For some reason, you automatically assume that you need to get paid for recommending a console. So if I go down the street and go to my friend's house and go, you should buy a Wii U, for some reason, that means that I should, at that point, go up to Nintendo and be like, can you pay me for telling someone about your console? That is the most childish way of looking at it. That is ridiculous because you should never recommend a console Actually, that's what people can't stand, is when people recommend consoles and get paid to recommend the console. Because at that point, they don't think it's legit. They think it's a paid advertisement. That's why it's called a paid advertisement. That makes sense, because you're getting paid to promote the console. You just promoting the console is not something you are entitled to. You are not entitled to get paid just because you talked about the console. If you like the console, and you like the games, and you like everything, and you like enough about it to recommend it, that means that it's a good quality product. What kind of logic is that, that you should assume that you should get paid just because you talked about and played the games? Because at the end of the day, the Wii U isn't for YouTube. The PS4 isn't for YouTube. And the Xbox One isn't for YouTube. No gaming console is for YouTube. They're for you and for your own personal experience. And it's not like they're taking down the video. They just, actually, I'm not sure. They may be doing that thing where they mute the audio, because Nintendo's really paranoid about their music specifically. But the point is, if the video's still intact and the only thing that you can't do is make money off of it, I'm sorry, how does that ruin the experience? How's that bad? Who is that bad for overall? Because the game is still getting pushed on YouTube. The game is still being promoted. The only thing that doesn't happen now is that you don't get paid for it. And that's the problem. That's the problem that people are having. People feel like they should get paid for something. People do realize that YouTube has created an industry in which that really didn't exist before, where people can spend $100 to thousands of dollars on products and get that money back even more so just by putting a video of it online. Not even for company profit. I just mean put the video online. YouTube has created an industry where people now can do that. They can do that with anything, whether it's video games, TV. You can do that just doing episode reviews. And for some reason, people now think that they're entitled for that money. You're not. If you want to push and recommend a show, that's because you love that thing that you're pushing. That doesn't mean you're entitled to get paid for it. But for some fucking reason, people think all of a sudden that you're entitled to get paid for it because you're pushing it. That's to me, that doesn't even show how genuine of a gamer you are, that you feel the need to get paid. And I understand, AngryJoe, that's his job. His job now is to review games. Then okay, look, if your job is to review games, and from that standpoint, I completely understand why you don't want to touch Nintendo content anymore. When this becomes a job, then it's like everything you do is for the sake of making money. I'm not saying there aren't any other aspects about it that you enjoy. I'm just saying that's a big thing about it now, is that you need to get paid for the work you put in. So I understand why you won't do a review of a Nintendo game with this copyright stuff, because now you've wasted 30 or 40 hours that could have been on something that you make money off of that you can't make money off of. But YouTube was never about making money in the first place. Well, at least not from the people making videos. We did that because we wanted to. And you could still make reviews on Nintendo games, but I understand it's a job, so of course it wouldn't be high priority. But to me, the fact that you feel the need that you need to get paid for it just because you recommended or talked about the game, to me, completely misses the point of recommending games. Like, apparently, recommending games now has turned into a job in itself. And look, it can be a job, and I understand it's your job. That doesn't necessarily mean you still couldn't make the Nintendo review and just be okay with it. You just make short, quick reviews of it. This is the thing that drives me up, and it just keeps going. It keeps going. People feel, and I love. And this is the truth of the world that is truly infuriating. In this world, just because you're right doesn't mean you're right. And what I mean by that specifically is that you can legally, morally be in the right. But if the mass majority says you're wrong, you're wrong. And that's the way this world has always worked. It has never worked by morals. It has never worked by logic. It works by the mass majority. If the mass majority says something's right, it automatically is right, because you cannot fight the mass majority by yourself. You either become the mass majority or you lose. And that's happened all throughout history. Just because something got passed doesn't mean it was the right thing. Sometimes the right thing went through, sometimes the wrong thing went through. That's why we have dictatorships. And when it comes to this YouTube Nintendo situation, that's what it is. Nintendo is like how people say, they're legally and technically in the right, but they've already lost because the mass majority disagrees. And of course the mass majority are going to agree with you, AngryJoe, because most of them have gone into this YouTube stuff. All the YouTubers, that speaks closer to them. It's like, well, yeah, I would love to make money off of making Nintendo content, and I'll be more inclined to make more at the same time, and that's why I feel like it hurts. It's not good for Nintendo overall because we end up with situations like this. But then again, Nintendo's been getting bashed online since the online's conception. Whether it was about the GameCube, whether it was about the Wii, whether it was about the Wii U, the 3DS, the Nintendo DS, the DSi, the XL, the Amiibos, everything Nintendo does gets bashed on, which is why I go back to that point of why in the fuck did you run around saying that Nintendo gets a free pass? On what? On what, sir? What do they get a free pass on? Everybody, including yourself, have said things about them in their games. The Bayonetta 2 situation, you opened your mouth about that, even though it was in reference to Tomb Raider stuff. That's just, I don't understand why people think that they're automatically obligated to this. This new age shit has completely fucked everything up into the point where people feel like they're entitled to things. Would it be nice? Is it a cool thing to do to allow people to just do what they want with their games and promote them? Yes, but at the end of the day, it's not something that needs to be there. I understand that this will not help them because everyone will throw them under the bus, and it doesn't help Nintendo in the long run because then people just don't want to touch their games. But the people who truly enjoy Nintendo games, the people who truly support Nintendo content, don't care about getting paid for it. The people who do are the ones who didn't care that much in the first place. Because even with the Nintendo copyright stuff, I'll still make positive Nintendo videos. I'll still play my Wii U. I will still promote Nintendo stuff. Because at the end of the day, it has nothing. This isn't my job, for one. And two, because I enjoy the content. Fuck the money. I enjoy the content. The only thing I worry about personally is copyright claims. Because I don't want my channel to be taken down. That's the only thing I worry about. But in terms of making money off it, I don't have to make money off it. Also, side note, the whole Creators Program only applies to people who already are partnered. It doesn't really apply to people who, well, at least the major point that people are mad about how the money is taken off of all these things. Well, if you're partnered with Nintendo, the Nintendo Creators Network, and you make only Nintendo content, this doesn't even apply to you. But most people aren't. That's why, as I said, majority will always win. It has nothing to do with being right or wrong. The majority will win. So in Nintendo's case, yeah, you're legally allowed to do this, but because you're not the majority, you've already lost this argument. If you enjoy Mario Party 10 and you have fun with it with your friends, then play the game and keep the video up. It doesn't hurt to have the video up. You think it's anti-consumer? Well, I don't think you did. That's the funny thing. As much as people keep saying about how Nintendo gets away with stuff, most of the stuff they've done, not all of it, but most of the stuff they've done so far haven't been anti-consumer. It has been somewhat anti-YouTube, I'll say that, but it hasn't been anti-consumer. None of this has hurt the games, and that's the difference. The thing about EA, about why they get shitted on so much, is because most of this stuff is anti-consumer. You charge $60 for a game and then charge another $50 to $90 on DLC and map packs and shit. And yeah, Nintendo has DLC, but at least it's fairly priced versus, EA's, which was all over the fucking place. Some of it's okay, some of it's just absolutely terrible. So fine, you don't want to do Nintendo content, but that's not even my issue. My issue is just that mindset of yours, where you for some reason feel like you're entitled to get paid, even if one, you're not even a part of the affiliates, and we know there are Nintendo affiliates. That's why you have other people doing Nintendo videos still. You see, granted, I don't care for these YouTubers, not all of them anyway. And you have people like Lamar Wilson, Katie Wilson, Black Nerd. You have people who still do Nintendo content, regardless. And there are people who are probably already aligned in these affiliate programs. So you're not a part of that program, so of course you don't get any real pass on it. And you don't want to be because you feel like it's anti-consumer or anti-YouTuber, which is fine. That's your personal choice. But don't sit here and lie to these people and act like that this is that if you defend this, and I don't think that this is a smart thing to do either. And it's not necessarily, and it's because of this reaction. Because they will still get this reaction, this look, this mindset is still there. So regardless of, even if they doing it this way doesn't help them, because then people will just shun them. But then again, as I said, they've been shitting on YouTube since the beginning. They've been shitting on the internet since the beginning for every little thing they do. But for some stupid reason, there's a free pass thing going around and Nintendo gets a free pass. No! Absolutely not! I'll go back to playing my games, but I just wanted to make that clear that this is not. That was a jaded ass video. That was a video jaded because you didn't make money off of it. Because at the end of the day, if the Wii U is a good console, what the fuck does it matter if you don't make money off the shit? I understand it's your job, but that doesn't mean you can't put up a few videos that don't get copyright. But fine, it's whatever. That's not even the point. I'm just bringing it up to add to the point. This isn't wrong because of legality. This is wrong because the mass majority says it's wrong. And that pisses me off. It pisses me off. Nintendo, you don't make things easy on yourself by doing this anyway. And you do have some old generation people in there who don't understand how this works. You want to go about this the right legal way, but at the end of the day, the world isn't ruled by legality or morality. It's ruled by mass majority. If you are the minority, you've lost. I'm fucking done. Fucking done. The joys of a Nintendo fan and someone who thinks open-mindedly. Whoa.